President, please be seated. The court is now in session. Today, the chamber will hear the testimony of real son, greffier Ms. Govati. Could you report the attendance of the parties and individuals to today's proceedings? Greffier, Mr. President, for today's proceedings, all the parties to this case are present. Duty counsel for Mr. Q. Sampon, Calvin Sanders, notify us that he will come late for today. As for Mr. Nguyen Chie, he is present in the holding cell downstairs, as he requests to waive his right to be present in the courtroom. His waiver has been delivered to the greffier. The witness who is to testify and complete his testimony today is Mr. Real Son, and his judicial Mr. Dutch Parry, and the witnesses are already present in this courtroom. Mr. President, thank you, Ms. Sakalwati. Before giving the floor to the parties, the trial chamber shall rule on the request by Nguyen Chie. The chamber has received a waiver from Nguyen Chie dated 18 March 2015. He confirms that due to his poor health condition, that is headache, back pain, and that he cannot sit for long, and in order to effectively participate in the future hearing, he requests to waive his right to participate in and be present and at 18 March 2015 hearing. He has been informed by his counsel about the consequence of this waiver, that in no way it can be construed as a waiver of his rights to be tried fairly and to challenge evidence presented or admitted to the court at any time during this trial. Having seen the medical report by the duty doctors for the accused at the ECC dated 18 March 2015, who notes that the health condition of Nguyen Chie is that he has severe back pain and he sits for long, and recommends that the chamber shall grant him his request so that he can follow the proceeding remotely from the holding cell downstairs. Based on the above information and pursuant to Rule 81.5 of the ECC Internal Rule, the chamber grants Nguyen Chie's request to follow the proceedings remotely from the holding cell downstairs via audio-visual means for today's proceeding, as he waives his direct presence in the courtroom. The AV unit is instructed to link the proceedings to the room downstairs so that Nguyen Chie can participate in and follow today's proceedings remotely. Before giving the floor to the parties, I would like to ask judges in the bench whether you have any question to put for the witness. Judge Lavange, you may proceed.
Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, Mr. Witness. My name is Jean-Marc Lavange. I have a number of questions to put to you for purposes of clarifying statements you have made thus far. First of all, I would like you to tell the chamber about your curriculum studio room. How far did you go in your studies?
Answer. The President, please advise the witness to respond again because the interpreter could not catch his first part of his answer.
ស្រីសូមឆ្លើយម្ដងទៀត ចម្លើយបាញ់មិញនេះហើយអ្នកបកប្រែមិនទាន់ទេ
Answer. I finished grade 3 of the old curriculum.
Donc, si je comprends bien,
So if I understand correctly, that is the third year in the former system. Where did you study?
Answer. I have been studying in middle school Uchaute in Takao province.
avez-vous étudié à...
Did you study in Phnom Penh?
Answer. I went to Phnom Penh for study when I was 13 years old, and then I passed the examination for the middle school Otei Takao. It was grade number 6 that I attended.
Dans quel lycée avez-vous étudié?
Where? In which school did you study?
President Witness, please hold on. You should wait until the microphone is activated. You can see the red light on it, and then you can respond. Answer. I study at Preh Otei Middle School in Takao province.
Dans une de vos déclarations, monsieur, vous avez...
In one of your statements, you said you studied in the Cambodia College and that you were a student of Uyun. Is that an error or that is correct?
Answer. It was not my mistake. At that time, I was studying at a middle school in Takao province, but during my vacation, I went to the private course in Phnom Penh.
Est-ce que, à partir du moment...
From the time when you completed your studies, were you introduced in what was referred to as the progressist milieu?
Answer. At that time, there was no such classification. I went back home. I was one of the progressive person.
Quelles ont été vos activités professionnelles?
What were your professional activities up until when you joined the revolution, and when did you join the revolution?
Answer. In fact, I joined the revolution in a year, but I forget the year. But it was since after the collapse of the Lonol regime, and then I joined the revolution movement.
Et auparavant, qu'est-ce que...
And prior to that, what was your professional activity? I noted that you worked for someone who made knives, that you were a mechanic at one point. What were your professional activities?
Answer. Before that, I was working as a person in a blacksmith producing knife and cross-cut So it's kind of small professional activity.
Avez-vous été mécanicien?
Were you a mechanic? And if yes, where did you undergo training to become a mechanic?
Answer. I was working as a minor mechanic. There was a trainer, but I was just a small staff for. I was an apprentice to another person who trained me on that.
Quand vous êtes rentré dans la Révolution,
When you joined the revolution, did your professional activities change? Did you engage in propaganda activities? Did you go to the communes to try to rally the youth to join the revolution? Did you engage in such activities?
បាទ
Answer. Yes, I did it. Soon after I joined the revolution, I mobilized the youth from villages and communes to join the military unit.
j'ai entendu hier et
Yesterday I heard and I read in your statement that at a point in time you worked on the site of a dam, Tramping Bay Dam or the Kok Trabek Dam. I do not know whether you are talking of the same dam. If you can clarify that, please also tell the chamber when you started working at that dam site and what were your functions. Were you unit head? Were you an ordinary worker or were you a supervisor?
Answer. I was one of the workers who built the dam during that time.
alors,
Now, was that before the 17th of April 1975? Was it as from the time when there were no longer any American bombings? When was that?
បាទ
Answer. It was still bombing by the American when I was working at dam worksite.
il y avait combien de personnes qui
How many people worked at that site? Was it a big work site?
Answer. That worksite was large and people were gathered from every villages and commune in Tram Kok district to work in that worksite.
C'était plusieurs dizaines.
Were there several dozens of people, several hundreds of people, or several thousands of people?
ខ្ញុំ
Answer. I didn't know the exact number of people, but from each commune, at least 20 people from one commune who were sent to that work site.
Donc à l'époque, il y avait 12.
So at the time there were 12 communes. So there were approximately 250 workers on that work site. Is that an approximate figure regarding the number of workers at that site?
Answer. Yes. It was probably 250, as in more than 200, as I can tell you.
Est-ce que vous vous souvenez si
Do you remember whether a Chinese delegation attended the inauguration of that dam?
បាទ
Answer: No, I don't know. I didn't see any Chinese delegation to be present at the inauguration, but I saw them in cars when those cars are traveling past by the dam work site, and they would travel at night.
Hier, sauf
Unless I am mistaken, I understood from your statement yesterday that you said that you saw Kil Sampan on that work site. Did I properly understand your testimony, or I'm wrong?
បាទ
Answer: As far as I know, you are not mistaken. I saw him, but he was not at the dam work site, but I saw him at the office next to the bamboo groves nearby. I saw him for a short period of time.
et ce bureau dans les bambous, c'était
And that office in the bamboo plantation, was that the office of people working at the dam, or that office was completely set aside or set apart?
បាទខ្ញុំ
Answer: I don't know any detail about that office because Ye Kum, the spouse of Tamok, asked me to transport cake to that office with my bicycle, and when we reached to a place nearby that office, and she asked me to drop her, and she told me that the person over there is Kil Sampan. That's what I heard from her.
mais vous avez vu que
Did you yourself see Kil Sampan, or you were told that he was in the office? And where was that office located?
Answer: It was in Chambok Punari village. It was covered by bamboo bush around, a large bamboo bush around. I saw him for a short period of time after she told me about that, and then Jacob told me that I should return, do not stay around. So I left the spot and go back to my place.
donc vous l'avez vu à peine un bref instant.
So you barely caught sight of him, and previously you had had occasion to meet Kil Sampan, be it in Phnom Penh or elsewhere?
នៅភ្នំពេញ
Answer: in Phnom Penh, I used to saw him. I have never met him in person, but I saw him.
Avez-vous assisté à son mariage?
Did you attend his wedding?
Answer: No, I did not attend his wedding, but I was helping to transport cakes and other thing with Tamok's spout to that place that I told you earlier.
Je ne comprends pas très bien. Les gâteaux,
I haven't quite understood what you said regarding the cake. Was it for Kil Sampan's wedding or for something else?
ខ្ញុំ
Answer: I don't know what those cakes were used for, but Yekum told me that it was the day when Kil Sampan was married.
Yekom,
Yekom is the person you described as Tamok's daughter. Is that a person you described as being mentally sick and even mad? Is that correct?
Mad.
Answer. Yekom was the mother of Kom. Kom was the wife of Tamok, and Kom was a daughter of Tamok.
donc si je résume,
So, if I sum up your testimony, you caught a glimpse of him, you caught a glimpse of someone briefly, and you described that person as being Kyosampan. How far were you from that person? Did you catch a glimpse of him during the day or at night? Did you see his face?
Answer. It was during a daytime, but I was about 50 meters away from him. I could not see his face very well, but I know that he was Kyosampan because Ye Kam told me that. But I could not see his face very well on that day.
quand avez-vous cessé vos activités?
When did you stop working at Trabeng Pei Dam or Kok Trabek Dam? When did you stop working there, and what did you do after that?
Answer. I do not recall it. That when I stopped working there, after that dam construction, I came back to work as a mechanic in District 105.
En quoi consistait exactement votre activité?
And what did your activities consist in? Did such activities include giving injections, administering medicines? Did you carry out such activities when you were working as a mechanic?
Answer. I was working in the economic sections who would search for rice and other food supply for the mechanic group. I would do only collecting husk rice and rice for the group.
Donc vous-même,
So you yourself were not a mechanic. Were you the head of that unit? Were you the person in charge of supplies? And that your activities include medical services?
Answer. At that time, I was working as a mechanic in a group of mechanics, but I was in charge of economics section. There was no medicines for giving or for treatment for any patient, and my chief was another person.
dans vos déclarations,
In your statements, you mentioned on several occasions that you were in charge of purchasing various materials, either drugs, medicines, or the raw materials needed for producing such medicines. When did you start such activities?
Answer. that hospitals were in need of medicines, I made a request to the district chief, and I would receive some money from the district office, and I would purchase certain medicines for the hospital.
Were you in charge of purchasing medicine for the hospital before being appointed director of the hospital or after that?
When I went to purchase the medicines, I already worked at the hospital, and I did it because there were lack of medicine.
So I don't really understand. Was this before or after 17 April 1975?
It was after 17 April 1975.
Fine. Yesterday you explained that you underwent 2 training programs, one of 3 months, one of 6 months, and you said also that your trainer was called Say. Can you confirm this?
Say was chief of the sector hospital, and he called us for the medical sessions. I engaged in the first session, which lasted for 3 months, and then the second session lasted for 6 months. However, the total days of the actual training for the first 3-month session was only about 2 weeks. And for the 6-month training, it was again lasted only for about 2 weeks for the actual training days.
I don't really understand. So the 3-month and 6 months training programs were only 2-week training programs each time, or were they 2 weeks in alternation? I don't really understand.
We attended the study session, but sometimes due to the busy nature of the work at the hospital, I didn't go to attend the sessions, and that for both the 3-month session and the 6-month session. So when there was too much work or too many works at the hospital, then I would write a letter to request for my absence, as I had to be at the hospital. And later on, the sessions ended.
Well, is it the case that before you became hospital director, you had underwent no medical training whatsoever? Is that the case?
Yes, that is the case.
Donc,
So you were invited to attend 2 training programs, one of 3 months, one of 6 months, but in reality, you only attended the equivalent of 2 weeks of training each time. So basically speaking, you received 1 month of training to become the head of the district hospital. Is that what I must understand?
I actually attended the study sessions after I already started working at the hospital.
So when did you administer the first vaccinations on patients? Was it before you were appointed at the head of the hospital, or was this afterwards?
On the vaccination or injection, I actually knew how to do it since I was a young man, as I used to do it for my mother and my father. So for the ordinary ailment, then for example fever, then I would be able to treat it with the injection of the medicine.
The trainer, who was called Say, therefore who was in charge of the sector hospital, is he the same as a person whom you call Rousseau, which you spoke about in your statements, in particular in your DCCAM interview, index D313/1/2/410, ERN 00752106, and you specified that this so-named Rousseau was a former nurse at the Preaket Mealia hospital in Phnom Penh, and that apparently he had escaped with Kusampon. So is Say Rousseau, are they the same person?
No, it's not Rusai. When you say in Khmer, Rusai, it refers to the bamboo roots. But Say here, the Say that I refer to is the one who was the chief of the sector hospital.
No.
Fine. So this chief of the sector hospital, had he been a nurse at Preaket Mealia hospital, and did he flee with Kusampon?
Through my knowledge, he used to work at the Preaket Mealia hospital. Although I did not see it personally, I only heard that he was a staff of that hospital. And later on, he joined the activities together with Khieu Sampon.
What did he do with Kusampon? I didn't quite understand. What kind of activities did he share with Kusampon?
At that time, I only heard of his name, that is Khieu Sampon's name. And when Say fled through the forest, he fled together with Khieu Sampon. Of course, I did not see this myself, but I heard about it. That is, he fled from Phnom Penh to join the activities with Khieu Sampon.
Can you be a bit more specific? Can you tell us when he fled? Was this before 1975? Was it in 1979? What are you speaking about exactly?
It was even prior to the year of the coup d'etat. That is when he fled Phnom Penh.
And after 17 April 1975, that is to say when Say was the head of the sector hospital, do you know what happened to him?
Est-ce qu'il est
Did he return to Phnom Penh?
Say left, his wife took charge of that hospital as he went for study in Phnom Penh, and I did not know how long that study lasted. His wife took charge of the sector hospital, but she ran into problems, although I did not know the nature of the problems, and later on she disappeared. And after Say returned from the study session, he was no longer in charge of the sector hospital, but he went to work at the Takai provincial town, although he did not hold any specific position at that time.
Do you know if Say, when he was in Phnom Penh, was at the head of a hospital called the 17 April Hospital?
No, I was not aware of that. I only knew that he used to work at the Prekatamilier Hospital.
Well, now let's turn to the Tram Kak hospitals. I would like you to provide me with some clarification in that regard. How many hospitals were there in that district? I'm not speaking about district hospitals, but I'm speaking about hospitals in total in that specific hospital. I understood that there was a District 105 hospital, and that this hospital was located close to the village of Trapeng Svei, Trapeng Kul Pagoda, in the commune of Trapeng Tongkom Chnang. Is that the case?
The hospital was located in Trapeng Svai village, Trapeng Thom Jeung commune. What you said is correct, but the pronunciation is a little bit off.
I apologize. So Hospital 22, you told us that this was a military hospital, and that this was a hospital, if I understood well, that depended on the sector. But was this hospital located in Tram Kak district or not?
That hospital was actually located in Po Dau village, Trapeng Thom Jeung commune in Tram Kak district.
No.
So this is a military hospital, and this military hospital depended on the sector. Is that the case?
I did not know about that arrangement, whether it was the sector or the zone, but ordinary people were not allowed to go there. It was mainly for the military. Even the nearby villagers were not allowed to go to that hospital.
So when there were meetings at the district level, were there representatives of Hospital 22 who would attend these meetings?
For the district level meeting, there was no representative from Hospital 22 because the district meeting was only for the district level.
I also understood that there was another sector hospital located in Dom Chombok commune. Was this commune part of Tram Kak district?
It was not Dam Chombok commune. In fact, it was a Dam Chambok school, and it was also located in Tramkot district. Here I refer to the Sector 13 hospital for Takeo province.
So Sector 13 had a hospital located in Tramkok district. And who had access to the sector hospital?
The hospital, which was located at the Dam Chambok, was for the treatment of patients from other districts, or for those patients from the district hospital and they were in serious conditions and could not be treated there, then they would be referred to the sector hospital.
So, in fact, the person who would what would explain the division of the patients between the sector and district hospitals was the seriousness of their condition. Is that what I must understand?
Yes, that is correct.
And the 17 April people, were they also liable to be sent to the sector hospital, or would they just stay in the district hospital?
At that time, there was no discrimination between the best people or the 17 April people. When their illness became severe, then they would be sent to the sector hospital.
And was the sector hospital, did the sector and district hospital have the same kind of staff? Or in a district hospital, and in the sector hospital, were there better trained doctors than in the district hospital?
At the sector hospital, the treatment methods were far more better and effective than ones at the district hospital.
And at the sector hospital, was surgery performed?
There was no surgery at the district hospital. However, there was one at the sector hospital. However, there were not many surgeries during the time.
And among the staff of the sector hospital, were there people who had been trained as doctors outside of a training of a few months or a few weeks? I'm speaking about a long, in-depth training. And were there people there who had been doctors before 17 April 75 who had practiced in this hospital?
No, there was none except Say.
Who was Sin?
it was say I refer to a person who was also head of another hospital in Tropang Ronip, which was also in Tramkot district.
Oui, je vous remercie.
Thank you. I did not hear well. Now, I would like us to speak about the hospitals at the commune level. Am I right in understanding that in each commune there were hospitals or maybe just health centers? So if this is the case, can you tell us who was in charge of these commune hospitals?
At the commune level, there are some medical staff in each commune. It varied. There were between 5 to 7 medics at a commune, at each commune. And amongst them, if one was considered more skillful or experienced in medical area, then the person would be appointed to be in charge of the group.
And these commune hospitals, were they under the responsibility of the district hospital? You, therefore, as the head or the deputy head of the district hospital, would you supervise and control the commune hospitals?
I supervise the 12 commune hospitals, and the commune chiefs, they were also in charge of those hospitals at the commune level.
So you would supervise the hospitals of all of the communes in the district, or simply the hospital of the commune where the district hospital was located?
I supervise all the hospitals at the communes within the district.
So I suppose that you went to visit each one of these commune hospitals. So can you tell us what the situation was like in these hospitals? Was it the same everywhere, or were there differences? Were you the person in charge of supplying medicine to the different commune hospitals?
My part of my duties was to distribute the medicines to those commune hospitals, and once in a while I would go to visit those commune hospitals, and also to distribute medicine to them, and to see the conditions of the inpatients. If their conditions were severe, then I would request them to be sent to the district hospital.
Were there patients who died in the commune hospitals, and was the situation pretty much the same everywhere?
The condition of the patients in the commune hospitals were the same. However, some patients died at the commune hospitals, and the reason was that those people were sick at the work site, and sometimes they were seriously sick when they were admitted to the commune hospitals. As a result, some of them died. And for others in a serious condition, then they will be referred to the district hospital.
In order to be admitted to the commune hospital or at the district hospital, did the patients have to obtain some kind of authorization? Did they need a letter to be admitted to the hospital?
The district chief authorized them to receive patients from the communes. That's what happened at the district hospital.
So they needed authorization from the district head in order to be admitted to the district hospital. Is that what I must understand?
The patients who were admitted at the commune hospital, and if their conditions were severe, then the commune hospitals had the discretion to refer them to the district hospital without any authorization.
And in order to be admitted to the commune hospital, was it necessary to have authorization?
Ou bien est-ce que tout
Or everyone could come at any time to the commune hospital for whatever reason?
Patients who were to be admitted to commune hospitals, they needed the authorization from their respective unit chief or their village chief.
So how would the unit chief or the village chief manage to assess the seriousness of the health condition of a patient?
In fact, the chiefs did not know whether the condition was light or severe, but from the local, when or if the patient looked ill, then the person would be sent to the hospital if he or she could walk. If not, then other people will be requested to carry that person to the hospital.
So you also said when you were interviewed by DCCAM Index D313.1.2.410, you also said that some patients were sent to Phnom Penh and that you even accompanied some of them. So can you confirm this or not?
Yes, I stand by my statement. At that time, at the hospital, there were about 10 patients who had a severe dysentery and who could not be treated with the medicines that we provided to them. So then we transport them in a Volkswagen car to Daum Chambok Hospital.
But the Dam Chambok Hospital is not the Phnom Penh Hospital. So did you accompany some patients to the hospital in Phnom Penh?
Yes. After I took those patients with severe symptoms of dysentery to the Dam Jammu hospital, I was told that I should take them further to a Phnom Penh hospital. So then the Dam Jammu hospital added 3 or 4 more patients with the same severe symptom of dysentery. Then I took all of them to the Khmer Soviet hospital in Phnom Penh.
Donc, pour être
In order to transfer those patients to Phnom Penh, did you need a decision from the sector or from the zone level? Could you yourself take the initiative to send a patient to Phnom Penh?
I did not have the authority to do that on my own discretion. And as I stated, I took the patients to the sector hospital, and then the chief of the sector hospital instructed me to take them further to Phnom Penh hospital, and he wrote a letter of authorization, and with that letter I went to the Phnom Penh hospital.
Et les gens qui sont allés à Phnom Penh, est-ce qu'ils faisaient partie du peuple?
And regarding those who went to Phnom Penh, were they base people or 17 April people?
Answer. There were some old people and new people. There were men and women patients who were referred to Phnom Penh. I forget the number of men and women patients.
Est-ce qu'à Phnom Penh, il y avait...
Were there more experienced doctors in Phnom Penh than those working in district or sector hospitals? Was the level of care provided different? And how different was such care?
Answer. I don't know that very well. As to the skill and technical treatment at Phnom Penh, but when I sent the patients at the hospital and they were carried for admission at the hospital, and then I returned to my place, I didn't meet with any doctors or any physician at the time.
À Phnom Penh, vous n'avez...
So you never met any doctors in Phnom Penh. When you brought them to the hospitals, you had to leave them with someone. Who did you leave those patients with? Did you have to prepare a report detailing what they were suffering from?
Answer. There was a letter to refer the patients to the sector hospital, and then the hospital at the sector added another report to send more patients to the Phnom Penh, and I deliver the patient and those report to the hospital in Phnom Penh, and then I return to my place.
À qui, précisément, remettiez-vous?
With whom specifically did you leave the patients and the report? Did you leave them with soldiers? Did you leave them with doctors? Who did you leave the patients with?
Answer. When I arrived at the hospital, there was staff from that hospital came and received the patient. Most of them were female staff, and I deliver them, the patient and the report, to those staff, because there were many patients who suffer from dysentery, and they were in desperate need for treatment.
Est-ce que dans ces hôpitaux,
in those hospitals, were there any trained nurses who had been trained in Tramkak district?
Answer: no, there was no well-trained, there was no trained nurses there.
non, peut-être que vous n'avez pas compris ma question.
Perhaps you did not quite understand my question. My question was whether in Phnom Penh hospitals were nurses who were from hospitals in Tramkak district. My question was not whether they were well trained or not. I just wanted to know whether there were nurses from Tramkak district.
Answer: when I transported the patients and when I arrived, the staff who were coming to receive the patient, they were not Tramkak. I don't know where they were from.
Est-ce qu'il vous arrivait, vous, de recevoir des...
Did you sometimes receive reports from commune hospitals? And did you also have to write reports to the sector hospitals?
Answer: the commune hospital would send the report to me, and then I further report to the sector hospital regarding the type of patients and the category of disease and illness, and then I report it directly to the sector hospital.
Quelle était la fréquence de...
How frequently did you write such reports? Did you write them every week, every month? Did you mention the number of patients admitted to the hospital, the number of patients released from the hospitals, or the number of patients who had died in the hospital?
Answer: in fact, I was working for 2 years at the hospital. I did not report on the admission and the release of the patients. Those reports were not in written most of the time, and all I did was oral report only.
Et est-ce que vous indiquiez oralement...
And did you orally inform your superiors of the number of people who died at the hospital, and how often did you provide such information?
Answer: the oral report would be done monthly. I did it once every month.
Donc, toutes les informations...
So all information was disclosed to the upper echelon. And do you know whether the upper echelon communicated to the zone level or the national level?
Answer: no, I don't know the further communication from the sector to the upper level. I had no idea on that.
Est-ce que, par contre,
did you nevertheless receive instructions from the upper echelon? You stated in one of your statements that during each meeting you had to discuss a plan of action, and that you received such plans of action. Who sent you those plans of action, and what were the contents of those plans of action? Were the instructions of a purely medical nature or of a political nature?
Answer: those instructions were not about politics. They were purely on the treatment for the patient, medications, and the type of illness, and the production of traditional herbal medicines. They were not about any politics.
Bien, on va y revenir.
Very well. We will return to that shortly. You also mentioned in your statements that at least initially you were deputy director of the district hospital, and that there was a director of that hospital, and that there were women. You talked of Met, Ya, and Nyari Nyeng. Can you tell us how the tasks were distributed between you and the women who were officially appointed directors of the district hospital?
Answer: in fact, and as far as I observe, the female director who were in charge of general matter above me, so she was my supervisor.
Bien. Vous avez indiqué.
Very well. You stated that those women who were directors of those hospitals had no idea of medicine. You also added that Met did not even know how to read. Can you confirm that?
Answer: yes, I stand by this statement, my statement as correct. President, thank you, Judge Laverne. Now it is appropriate time for a break. So the break shall continue until 10:30. Court officer is instructed to coordinate the witness and his duty counsel during the break, and have both of them back in the courtroom at 10:30. The court is now in recess.